Good evening, boys and girls. Are you ready for bed? Are you ready for another lights out bedtime story? You've clicked subscribe, right? Great, thank you very much. Now, this is part 4 of 13 about Peter who broke all the rules and started to follow them again. And this story is called Peter, the boy who made friends with people who wanted the best for him. Once upon a time, as Peter was still at his grandparents' at Seaview at the bottom of the hill, he began to look for friends. He saw that the Pratt boys were still eating ice cream, and he felt quite confident that he might be able to help them. And so they were actually a similar age to him. And next time they were walking past with ice cream stuffed into their faces, he walked out the door and he jumped down the steps. He was like, "Hey, you want to play?" They stopped and looked at him and went, "All right." And so he took them back into the Grand's backyard, which is quite big, and they started to play football. And after the football, the boys were quite tired. And he said, "Do you want to come in for a cup of tea?" And so Peter brought the Pratt boys back into the kitchen, and Gran, this time, kitchen was smelling of cheesecake. Made them all a cup of tea and a slice of cheesecake. Peter and the boys chatted for a while, and he found that the boys were quite negative. They were always complaining about something. About how fat they were, about how little ice cream they were bought. And every time Peter tried to tell them something about him, like how he was on the leaderboard and how he stood up straight and how he'd cut all the grass for his grandma the day before, they would always come back with something like, "Oh, we got rid of the grass in our garden because it was just too much effort to cut. Top of the leaderboard, we've been there for years. Come on, Peter, come with us. Let's go down the street and play with some other friends." Peter was quite keen to make some other friends, so he said, "Yeah, come on, let's go." And they said goodbye to Gran, and the three of them walked down the street. Halfway down the street, they were passing some kind of forest, and the boy said, "Come on, let's go in here." And they went in there, and inside the forest, they had made a little tree house. And in the treehouse were 2 more friends playing cards and chewing bubblegum, drinking cola. "This is Peter," said the Pratt boys. "All right, Peter," said one of the boys. "I like your shoes. My mum can't buy me any shoes. Look at these crap things." "Hiya, Peter," said the other boy. "Where'd you get that jacket from? Look at this crap one that I'm wearing." "Hey, Pratt boys, how much ice cream you had today?" "Only 2. Oh my gosh. My dad won't even buy me any. You're so lucky." As Peter sat down to play the cards with the 4 boys, he began to realize that they might need help. And so, one by one, Peter tried to help them. First of all, the next day he went to the Pratt's house and played with one of the boys. And he's like, "Come on, let's go and do a bit of exercise." But eventually, it didn't work, and the boys got another ice cream. He went to the other boy's house and said, "You know, the shoes you've got, you can clean them up a bit, because look at this. I just cleaned mine." But it didn't matter how hard Peter tried. The boy was quite happy with tatty shoes. He went to the next boy's house, and Peter had thought that this boy was very smart because he always won the card games, and he knew exactly what other people had. In fact, the boy was very, very smart, but he just didn't seem like he wanted any help. In fact, the whole experience with these 4 boys was starting to make Peter feel a bit bad. He felt like he was slipping down from the leaderboard, and his shoulders were starting to curl in a bit. And as he was sitting on the sofa, listening to the radio, his grandpa doing a puzzle on the big chair, he saw another boy walking down the street, and his shoulders were straight, and he was standing up with his shoulders back. Who's that boy over there? Oh, that's Tom. Tom, the fisherman's son. He's quite a nice boy, said Grandpa. And so Grandpa opened the window. Oi, Tom, do you want to come in and help me with this puzzle? Yes, Mr. Grandpa. And so Tom came in and sat down, and Peter started to tell him about cutting the lawn. And Tom was like, yeah, what a good job that is. You did right. I tell you what, I cut my dad's lawn yesterday, and there's another person who needs a lawn cut tomorrow. Should we go and do it together? That sounds like a good idea, said Peter. And so the two boys the next day went round and helped the old woman to cut her grass. As they were cutting, Peter and Tom started to chat, and it seemed that Tom was very positive. Peter mentioned about the Pratt boys and the boys in the treehouse, and Tom said, oh, yeah, forget about those. We'd made a big group one day, said Tom. There was about 15 of us. We'd all gathered around, all the boys from the village, and we were going to cut all the grass for all the people that were sick or old or couldn't even leave the house. We had a great bunch of lads. But then the Pratt boys came, and they started to not do what everybody else was doing, and they were lazy, and they didn't turn up, and they were not pulling their weight. And you know what? Soon, these two boys impacted all the others, and out of that big team, they all quit. Wow, said Peter. Can that happen? Of course it can, said Tom. Have you not heard the expression, a bad egg? Yes, what does it mean? Well, if you get somebody in your team that's not pulling the weight, but getting equal pay or something like that, it's going to bring the morale, and that's how good people feel as a team. Right down, and then people will not do what they're supposed to do. Ah, said Peter. But, said Peter, I think they need some help. Listen, said Tom, sometimes you can't help people. And firstly, people have to want to be helped. Did you ever find out why they needed help, or why you thought they needed help? No, said Peter. Well, that's your first mistake. You have to really find out why people want help before you try and help them, and that way you can find out if they need help or if they want it, because a lot of people don't want the help. They want to stew right down there where they are. Ah, said Peter. So is it kind of like that saying, you can lead a horse to water but you can't make them drink? That's exactly right, said Tom. And so that day, when Peter was cutting the grass with Tom, he come to realize that you can't help everyone, especially ones that don't need help, and that first of all you should help yourself. And by doing that, it means you have to take care of yourself, like you're responsible for helping yourself, like taking your medicine, like doing your exercise, doing your homework, staying indoors when you have to, wearing your mask outside. And once you're able to take care of yourself, then you're in a better shape to take care of others. And if everybody did that, well, I think the world would be a better place. Don't you? The end.